Welcome to the Kwazzie Show. This is Marianne, and how are you today, Mary?
Hey, I'm really well, thank you, Marianne. And yes, here we go. This is a big question today, I think.
Well, you've come up with this idea, which everything is an idea, seemingly,
Yeah,
isn't it? A good
that's what we
friend of
start
mine
with.
were talking the other day about everything's just an idea. And so your idea for the show today is about meaning. What is meaning, or is it what gives us meaning? What is it that
Oh,
you...
it's meaning and our hunger for meaning. As humans, we are on this quest, aren't we? We're trying to work out why we're here, what's our purpose, who am I? We touched on some of those questions in our last podcast. What's it all about? It's all that idea of meaning. And prime example, I just sat here and looked out my window, and every time we've done a podcast, Marianne, what have I said? There's my rabbit. And there, fair enough, was a rabbit sitting there. And what's the first thing you did? Looked
Like,
up.
it's spiritual meaning of a rabbit.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything, I guess we can give meaning to everything, but this is the beautiful thing about meaning. When I did neurosemantics, which is the meaning we give to things, what means something for me will mean something totally different for you and everybody else. So I guess the idea of meaning has to be answered from within. What gives you meaning, or what does meaning mean to you?
Yeah, or how do I experience what I mean? Or no, not experience what I mean. That didn't really make sense, did it? Um, do you know where I'm going to with this?
Do you want me to help you out, Mary, about what you're trying to mean? Yeah. Okay, so how's this sound? Some people say, from, the great wise people that, philosophers and so forth, and spiritual teachers and all of those sorts of people, from a spiritual viewpoint, we're really a soul in a physical body having a human experience. That's one way of looking at it.
Yep.
So we're here to love, we're here to create, we're here to enjoy, we're here to thrive, we're here to do all of these things. But I think where we can get really tripped up, and when people say, I've got no purpose, or and things like that, it's about, I always used to say to people, if you're feeling that way, go and volunteer, go and be in the community somehow, go and start giving what you seek, basically. Give what you seek. And if you seek to understand, start helping people understand something, teach something. If you seek to, like people always teach what they need to learn. If someone's trying to learn how to cope with their anger, go teach anger management, Or if somebody's learning to overcome, like I have overcome a great deal of addiction in my life, and so I offer that space for others to change. I hold that space for people if they want to overcome addiction. And that's one of the things I do.
As I said, I wrote an article the other day around purpose and what comes first. And we often, as you mentioned just before, we often get tricked, one or the other, up when we go searching for what our purpose is, rather than just investing in the time, investing in the things that we're really good at, and using our talents, be they writing, be they speaking, be they assisting in the community. You could be an accountant and go and invest your time with a community organisation, and the purpose might present itself rather than seeking the purpose first. What's your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, that's interesting. What I'm looking at around that is, if you, like when I wrote Our Ultimate Truth, one thing I discovered was what gives people that real emotional juice is the personal satisfaction of growth. And so if we're learning, we're always learning, it gives us personal satisfaction. There's nothing more satisfying than personal growth. And that's why I always ask people, what have you learned about yourself in the last 6 months? And people are like, what? Because they're seeking some sort of meaning in something over there. And the meaning actually comes from within how we're feeling about what we're investing our time in. And then that becomes a sort of a purpose once you find what you love to do. Like, a lot of people don't know what they love to do.
Yeah.
Or they don't know how they can find, maybe, like, if you look at work, do what you love, right? Instead of going to do a job and you find no meaning in it, and then you find meaning in spending time with others or your children or whatever the case may be. So how can you turn that into a career? How can you live on this planet and do what you love with such meaning?
Yeah, and sometimes perhaps we've forgotten what we do love. And I've suggested to people that perhaps you look back into your high school years or even your childhood, and we didn't worry so much when we were kids about meaning, did we? It seems to come as we age a bit more, I suppose. But the things that give you joy, if you're outdoors and active, or whether you're like to sit in the library and read, how can you turn those things, those passions, into something that provides purpose and meaning?
Yeah. And also, just the mere fact of inspiring others and having that creative expression is how it always gives me meaning, always makes me feel fantastic. And also because I'm viewing others feeling fantastic. So it's a loop of gorgeousness, so.
Yeah.
But then again, I did hear from an astrologer a few months ago that talked about meaning is the ego seeking to feel important, or the ego seeking to, feel love from others, or whatever the case may be.
Recognition, or
yeah. And but here's the thing: I've been doing looking at a lot of shadow work lately, and I really recommend everybody listens to. It's actually on YouTube. The Shadow Effect by Debbie Ford. She's actually passed away now. Everyone has this shadow. And it's like, well, embrace. So if you're like in the victim state of, oh my God, what's my purpose or meaning? Nothing gives me meaning, and you're feeling down, just embrace that. And
you see, I like that. That's really good.
Yeah, just
because sometimes your shadow just pops up, doesn't it? When you're least, like, everything's just cracking along just nicely, and then you hit a funk.
Yeah, and I guess to explain the shadow more to people, it's the parts of us that we refuse to see in ourselves and point the finger at others and say, oh, that person's egotistical, or that person's a narcissist, or that person's this, or that person's that. When if you watch the movie, it has the most profound analogy of projection. And so to own the shadow and say, yep, I can be this way, I can be deceitful, I can be, I can be angry, and I can be, all of these things. I can be judgmental.
Right.
And when we just love it and own it and go, yep, that's just another part of me, it is not me. It is a part of the identities and the things that I have, and they all are of service to us somehow, Mary, because without all of these parts that I had, I wouldn't have meaning. I wouldn't be able to be of service to others and have empathy and feel their pain and suffering, because
Right, so embracing all the parts of ourselves, the parts that we project onto others, the parts that we try to hide away and keep secret,
the
as
shame,
well as well
the
as
guilt, the
the
fear, the
the
addictions. Yeah.
positive strengths, our joys and our
Yeah, it's called
pleasure.
being authentic. If you want meaning, be authentic. You know,
Yeah.
most people show up in the world at their work a different person than they show up at home. You know, so
Yeah.
and so it's like
Another little
be
concept I've been
kind.
playing with that I wouldn't mind you weighing in on here, Marianne, is the idea of the hero journey, and we see it in movies, and you know that someone goes off to Wonder Woman goes off and conquers what is it? She vanquishes the evil person, evil. I can't remember who he was. Sorry, it slipped out of my
Wonder
mind.
Woman.
Yeah, she's or Superman, someone that's the superhero goes off and saves the day. How does that play into our everyday life? How can we use the story of the hero in our own lives and finding meaning?
Well, I have no clue what you're talking about, so let's take a quick
Oh.
break and we'll be back in one moment. So welcome back.
Welcome back.
I just wanted to define, Mary, what is the hero journey?
You wanted to
yeah.
wanted to find the meaning of a hero.
Yeah. So you're saying that we're trying to, in order to have our lives have meaning, we have to be a hero of our own life somehow, or be the hero for others, be a rescuer. What are you saying?
I'm saying that that we're all essentially on a hero journey, that putting the time and energy and effort into understanding ourselves, identifying our authentic self, working out.
You're talking about you and I, but I don't know about everyone else. It would be fantastic if everyone else was on a hero journey, being there, you know, using their life as their own project. If anyone can make their life their personal project, wow, you know, they've got some incredible.
How cool would that be?
I know. Well, that's what I do. That's all I do. And
being your own best hero.
well, I don't know about hero. I'm just trying to. I'm always learning, always seeking to understand, always growing, always analysing. The human condition is my passion. So I don't think everyone else invests any time in understanding themselves as much as I do. I'm just a weirdo when it comes to that. But in saying that, when they do some discovery, they can then become a hero of their own life. I guess is that what you're meaning?
Yeah. I think you've put that nicely, and it does then. It ties into the seeking of meaning, and it makes the idea of well, that's what you're saying. It comes from within, so we have to look within. We have to be the hero that's willing to go on the quest to find out what's inside yourself.
And that is an amazing journey to go on. I mean, when people start waking up, and what I mean by that is they start recognizing, oh, well, you know, this is my creation. I'm the creator of my own reality. Gee, maybe I'm the only one who's in common in this thread of life, and take responsibility, of course.
Yeah, well, that is the key to it, because once that happens, you can't help but take responsibility. You do become responsible and responsible for your own actions, behaviours, your words.
But the gorgeous thing about that, Mary, life then becomes exciting. You become so authentic And then you can recognize, gee, I am in the driver's seat. Gee, I can create what I want to experience. And with practice, because everything is practice, you've got to practice this whole new way of interacting with yourself and the world. And I witness the most beautiful things coaching others. I'm sure you do too. And even in my own relationships with others, and watching how that unfolds and how people unpack their own stuff. You know, even just
spot on. And I'll tell you something else. What happens, which you're very aware of, is that it attracts like-minded people and people that are also on a quest into your domain or into your life.
Yeah.
And that pushes you on further as well. Keeps you going on the journey, on the quest.
Yeah. And
it gives you more to work with.
Yeah, and it's so great to be able to say to somebody that you're with, that you love and care about, how can you be of service to yourself right now? And when they go,
nice.
Oh, yeah, well, I can shake it off, I can do this, I can change my state, I'll make a nice cup of tea, I can breathe, I can be kind to myself, I can tell myself I'm enough.
Just tell me that question again, Marianne. That was really nice. When you're with somebody that you love and you ask them,
and you care about them, and they're in a victim place, you just say, how can you be of service to yourself right now?
How can you be of service to yourself right now?
Yeah. And it gets
Should we take a little break?
Oh, it's so beautiful. It happened to me this morning. I was so privileged to witness that. Okay, we'll have a little break. Back in one moment. Welcome back.
Hi there. So we finished that up very nicely, and that was a beautiful question. Did you want to elaborate, Marianne, on
Well, it's just really, really helpful to help people get out of a negative state or a self-defeating state, for them to take responsibility for what they're actually feeling. And often, you know, when we get into our little place, we want somebody to nurture us and take care of us.
I like that. When we get into our little place.
Yeah, and
we'll
that's
do
okay. Absolutely. I've got a little girl like you wouldn't believe. And it's beautiful to be taken care of. But then sometimes it's also helpful, especially when you're with a like-minded person, to offer that space for them to take charge of what they're actually experiencing. And it gives their life much more meaning. And I witness, when I do offer that, people have huge leaps and bounds about what they're experiencing and huge insights, because
well, you're putting them smack in the driver's seat, aren't you? You're going, here's your car, you drive it, or here's your journey.
Yeah, well, yeah, and just to witness that, so beautiful, because when we do that, even if somebody would to say that for me, I would then go, I'd go straight out of that state, and then my insight would be much bigger. You know, like my insight would be much deeper than somebody giving me their opinion of what they think I'm feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So
it would have more meaning. It would have more meaning.
You have your own realization, and yeah, meaning comes when those little light bulb moments, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think another thing about meaning, if you look at life as a whole, what does it mean? I think that the more meaning you can get out of each experience, instead of wasting your life sitting there watching TV every night, or getting drunk, or running people down, or whatever people do when they're unhappy, is to, you know, do something that you can sit, like if you sat there and said, okay, what do I want to experience in the next 12 months? What's going to add value to my life? What's going to give me more meaning? I don't know. What does meaning mean to you, Mary?
It's such a, it's quite an evasive little definition, isn't it? I think meaning, I think it's something you feel it rather than define it. You can,
Well, let's loop it. So,
sure, have a
so,
loop.
so,
Well,
Mary, tell
tell me.
me. Okay.
Oh, okay. Marianne, tell me, what does meaning mean to you?
Feeling something from my core. Tell me, Mary, what does meaning mean to you?
Finding something, finding some joy in the moment. Tell me, Marianne, what does meaning mean to you?
Oh, it's so confronting, isn't it?
Ah.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it is. It's confronting, but in an amazing way. It's enlightenment. Enlightenment. Tell me, Mary, what does meaning mean to you?
Oh, it means, what does meaning mean to me? It's kind of a, well, purpose, I guess, but investment as well, investment of self. Okay, interesting. Tell me, Marianne, what does meaning mean to you?
It means excitement. It means I'm getting like my heart starting to speed up. It's like, what's next? It's anticipation. It's juice. Tell me, Mary, what does meaning mean to you?
Right. So worthwhile. Worthwhile. That's popped up. I'm not quite. That's interesting. So I'm interested to explore that a bit more later. I'm wondering whether it's around self-worth. Do I have to experience self-worth to have meaning in life? I don't know the answer to it. Tell me, Marianne, what does meaning mean to you?
Inspiration, absolute inspiration, creativity, listening to you, discover. Your self-discovery gives so much meaning to this whole energy. It's energy. Tell me, Mary,
Energy.
what does meaning mean to you?
It's kind of like a deep spiritual experience. It's no, not quite. But it's also a tiny, tiny little fragment of something. It's really tiny and it's really large all at the same time.
Wow.
Gosh. Okay, tell me, Marianne, what does meaning mean to you?
It's far beyond the mind. It's like blowing my mind at the moment. It's like, it's essence. It's essence.
Essence.
It's essence.
Oh,
It's
can I share
essence.
that?
Yeah, it's essence. Oh, that's really good. I think we can hold that space of essence. And so what is essence?
Okay, so maybe we should encourage others to give this a go with someone that they don't mind sharing everything with.
Yeah, and it's not about thinking the answer. It's just allowing it to come through. And what gives you meaning is that essence, which is an energy, an unexplained energy, really. It's just this beautiful feeling of flow and divine, almost inspiration, isn't it? It's like, I feel your essence. It's like this connection. It's a connection, isn't it?
It is. It's connection, essence, and flow. I love that. That's just, I tell you, I can't tell you how much this has uplifted me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's great. It's given me a renewed sense of purpose. That's how I'm feeling right now. I feel like, so hope this is relevant to everybody out there, really nice.
Yeah. And so we could ask, how do we get that? It's just gone 4:44 on my clock. So let's take a quick break and ask, how do we connect to that essence? How do we find that real essence in our lives? Yeah? So
Okay.
we'll be
Yeah, great.
my moment. Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
Mary, I really loved how you shared in the break with me that you just were overwhelmed at how much it uplifted you, and I wanted to be curious to ask you why. What did you feel?
Yeah. I'm feeling like I don't need to define, like there's no need to define meaning. It's a feeling, it's a presence.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Oh, thanks. That's a great little exercise, Marianne, and thank you for bringing that into the conversation and just looping that backwards and forwards really expanded my ideas and
Yeah,
thanks,
it's a
Emma.
psychotherapy technique, but it's so valuable. I do it when I'm running workshops, and people just get so much because they don't know what that means, you know. And you've just had this explosion of, I can feel your tears in your eyes, your heart's palpitating, and you've just had this newfound feeling of, oh my God, here I have been trying to think it out all this time, and it's actually a pure essence that works through me. That's meaning.
Oh, nice.
And you don't have
Beautifully,
to
beautifully
define
said.
it in
Yeah.
a thing or a place or a person or an activity. It's just a feeling in the moment. You could be
Yeah.
walking down a
Spot
beach
on.
and it can overwhelm you in a moment. You can have a feeling or a memory, or you can be supporting someone, and just in that moment it's just divine inspiration. It's like this.
Yeah, and I'd like to say to everybody out there, don't think that that's just a one-off feeling that you can have. You can just, you can expand on it when you capture that moment and you feel it. Just breathe into it and let it expand itself.
Yeah. Like I had this thing happen to me today. My dear old dad passed away, as you know, year before
Yeah.
last, and he pops through occasionally, just pops into my awareness and says a one-liner. And he goes, hey, he goes, I wrote it down. What do you think love is? And I thought, because I can hear it in his complete voice. And so I just wrote down love is the ability to be kind, patient, loving, available, present, free, wrote all of these things. And then I just waited to see if I'd get a response. And he just came back and he goes, so feel that. And so, man, a few words, but the idea in it was, I was just about to post on my Set Yourself Free group, and it was just a way for him to show how quickly you can drop into a frequency that means something. You know, you don't always have to be in the presence of another to feel great, to feel things. You know,
Yeah.
You can actually be in the moment with yourself and have real meaning being with yourself, and have real meaning sharing with others, or and it's just like whenever I do this with you, it's got so much meaning for me.
It's nice. It has for me too, obviously, and we just keep on trucking along doing it, don't we? So I hope the people that are listening are getting as much out of it as I am.
Well, yeah, they do. I get feedback, and also it's about, because we're talking about meaningful things
Yeah.
that maybe not a lot of other people want to go there and talk about shame and guilt and fear and all the shit we talk about. It's like, just get into it.
Get into it. Yes, get real. Get real.
And it'll have more meaning. You'll have more meaning in your life.
You'll have more meaning. You will indeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that a good brief thing?
I think that might be a wrap.
Yeah. So when people want to ask the question, well, how do I get more meaning in my life, is to allow yourself to feel, allow that essence to come through, feel that meaning. And if, like, I had a client today saying, I said, what is it that you want right now? And she said, I just want to stop feeling sad. And I said, well, why don't you just feel sad? You've got a lot to be
Right.
sad about at the moment. Instead of
Yeah.
resisting feeling sad, just be in
Yeah.
that moment. Feel the meaning behind the sadness and just feel it. Because as we know, once we feel something, we'll feel through it. It won't last forever. 90 seconds, apparently, a feeling has a life force of. But if you resist
Oh,
it,
there we
if
go.
you resist it, it will just keep feeling the same stuff, you know.
Interesting.
Mm.
So I think we can expand on that perhaps in our next podcast. We could talk about resistance.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Mm.
Resistance. Oh, I'm surprised we haven't done that, Mary.
I know. Perhaps we've been resisting.
Resistance. I love that subject because it's just got so many gems behind it. When you,
It has. It's going to be
I
a good
just
one.
love it. All right,
That's going to be a great one.
okay. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Please like and share so others maybe can listen to this and get some good emotional juice out of it. And love you as always, my friend. And I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, darling. Okay.
Bye.